Dr. Zelthar clicked his mandibles together in what passed for a sigh among his people. The sound echoed through the pristine white halls of Medical Station Zenith 7, one of the most advanced hospitals in the known galaxy. His 6 legs carried him smoothly across the polished floor as he approached the viewing window of Treatment Bay 7. Behind the transparent barrier lay his newest patient and the source of his current irritation, a human. The creature on the medical bed looked remarkably unremarkable. 2 arms, 2 legs, 1 head, no protective carapace, no redundant organs visible through scanning, no natural armor plating whatsoever. Its skin was a pale brown color, smooth and vulnerable. The human appeared to be unconscious, which was probably for the best. Dr. Zelthar had reviewed the medical files of this species called humanity, and he found the data almost laughable. "Doctor, the patient is stable," said Nurse Kivra, a small blue-skinned Polarian who barely reached Dr. Zelthar's thorax. She held a datapad in her 3-fingered hands. The mining company transported him here after the accident. His name is Marcus Chen, age 32 standard years. 32 years, Dr. Zelthar repeated, his translator converting his chittering voice into Galactic Common. Barely past infancy for a civilized species. How do humans accomplish anything with such short lifespans? Kivra's large eyes blinked slowly. I believe 32 is considered adult for them, Doctor. Dr. Zelthar's antennae twitched in disbelief. At 412 years old, he had been practicing medicine longer than humans had been spacefaring. He turned back to examine the human through the window. The creature's chest rose and fell with each breath, powered by what the files described as a single heart and 2 primitive lungs. 1 heart. The inefficiency was astounding. What injuries did the mining accident cause? Dr. Zelthar asked, pulling up the initial scan results on his own datapad. Fractured ribs on the left side, internal bleeding in the abdominal cavity, and significant radiation exposure from the reactor leak, Kivra reported. The mining supervisor said Marcus was trapped in the collapsed section for approximately 3 standard days before rescue teams could reach him. Dr. Zelthar made a notation on his pad. 3 days with internal injuries and radiation exposure should have killed such a fragile species. Perhaps the initial damage assessment was incorrect. Has anyone informed the human's family? He has no family on the station. His records indicate he came here alone, signed a 5-year contract with the mining company. Typical, muttered Dr. Zelthar. Humans are so new to the galactic community that they take the dangerous jobs no one else wants. Desperate for credits and acceptance, a group of medical students entered the hallway, their various species creating a colorful array of shapes and sizes. There were 2 Varinians like Dr. Zelthar, 1 tall Zephyrian with crystalline skin, and a stocky Gromite with thick gray hide. They gathered around the viewing window with curious expressions. Perfect timing, Dr. Zelthar said, addressing his students. Today we have an excellent educational opportunity. This is a human, one of the newest species to achieve space travel. They call themselves Homo sapiens, though I find very little that is particularly sapient about their biological design. The students clicked, hummed, and growled their various forms of laughter. Dr. Zelthar felt a familiar satisfaction in educating the next generation. He pulled up a holographic display showing the human body's internal structure. Observe the primitive cardiovascular system, he continued, highlighting the single heart. 1 pump responsible for circulating blood through the entire body. If it fails, the creature dies. No backup, no redundancy. My people have 3 hearts, as you know. The Gromites have 5. Even the Polarians, small as they are, have 2. The Gromite student raised a thick arm. Professor, what about their regenerative capabilities? Minimal to non-existent, Dr. Zelthar replied. If a human loses a limb, it does not grow back. The wound simply closes with scar tissue. They must rely on cybernetic replacements or cloned transplants, both of which their bodies frequently reject due to an overactive immune system that cannot distinguish between helpful and harmful interventions. Inside the treatment bay, Marcus Chen's eyes flickered open. His vision was blurry, and every breath sent sharp pains through his chest. The last thing he remembered was the mine ceiling collapsing, the screaming of metal, the burning smell of radiation, then darkness, then voices calling his name, then nothing. Now he lay in what was obviously a hospital bed, though the equipment looked strange. The walls curved in odd ways, and through the window he could see figures that definitely were not human. His translator implant was working, feeding their conversation directly into his auditory cortex. Their lifespan averages only 70 to 80 standard years, the largest creature was saying. It looked like a massive praying mantis about 3 meters tall. They reach physical maturity at approximately 18 years, spend perhaps 30 years in their prime, and then begin deteriorating. Frankly, I am surprised they managed to develop space travel before dying of old age. Marcus wanted to feel angry, but mostly he felt tired and sore. Everything hurt. He closed his eyes and listened. The human respiratory system is equally inefficient, the mantis doctor continued. They breathe a dangerous mixture of oxygen and nitrogen, requiring the oxygen for cellular respiration, but unable to process pure oxygen without toxicity. Their lungs are soft, vulnerable organs with no protective plating. A single puncture can collapse them entirely. What about their skeletal structure? Asked a different voice, higher pitched. Calcium-based bones prone to breaking under stress. They have an internal skeleton, which means they lack the natural armor that an exoskeleton provides. Their skin is thin, easily damaged by heat, cold, radiation, or simple physical trauma. I have reviewed their medical literature, and humans injure themselves constantly. They call it being accident-prone, but really it is just poor biological design. Marcus kept his breathing steady, not wanting to alert them that he was conscious. There was something fascinating about hearing yourself discussed like a lab specimen. Then how do they survive at all? One of the students asked. They reproduce quickly and in large numbers. Dr. Zelthar answered. It is a quantity over quality strategy. Rather than having durable individuals, they have many weak individuals and hope some survive. Very primitive, very inefficient. The Zephyrian student's crystalline face reflected the light as she spoke. I heard that humans come from a relatively hostile planet. Is that true? Somewhat, Dr. Zelthar admitted. Their homeworld is classified as Class 8 on the habitability scale. Not the worst, but certainly not pleasant. It explains their various weaknesses. They evolved in a forgiving enough environment that they never needed to develop proper survival mechanisms. Marcus almost laughed at that, but stopped himself. Earth forgiving? Clearly this doctor had never experienced a winter in Moscow or a summer in Death Valley. But he stayed quiet and listened. Doctor, Nurse Kivra interrupted, checking her instruments. I am getting some unusual readings from the patient. Dr. Zelthar approached the console, his attention focusing on the data. What kind of unusual readings? His cellular activity is elevated beyond what the database indicates is normal for humans, and his bone tissue where the fractures occurred shows signs of calcium deposition already beginning. The initial scan was only 3 hours ago. Dr. Zelthar's antennae waved dismissively. Equipment error, most likely. These treatment bays were calibrated for Varinian and Zephyrian physiology. Run a level 2 diagnostic on the scanning array. Yes, doctor. Dr. Zelthar turned back to his students. This brings me to my next point. When treating an unfamiliar species, always run comprehensive biological analysis. Even a simple species like humans can present unexpected complications. I have ordered a full genetic and cellular mapping. The results should be available within 6 to 8 hours. We will reconvene then to discuss treatment protocols. The students acknowledged their dismissal and filed out of the corridor. Dr. Zelthar remained at the window, studying the human. Such a fragile, simple creature. It would be an easy case, a chance to demonstrate basic xenobiology to his students. Perhaps he would even write a paper on it. Treatment of Death World adjacent species, a case study in human medicine. Inside the bay, Marcus opened his eyes again. The pain in his ribs was still there, but somehow it felt less intense than it had been. He had been hurt worse before. There was that time in the factory when the robotic arm malfunctioned. And that bar fight in New Shanghai. And that stupid bet involving the bridge and the river. He smiled slightly. These aliens thought humans were fragile. They had no idea. In his 400 years of practice, Dr. Zelthar had treated thousands of species and had seen almost everything the galaxy had to offer. He was confident that this human patient would be routine, simple, and educational. He had never been more wrong in his life. Dr. Zelthar returned to the treatment bay 6 hours later, expecting to find straightforward results that would confirm his assessment of human biology. Instead, he found Nurse Kivra staring at her console with an expression of deep confusion. Her blue skin had taken on a slightly purple tint, which in Polarians indicated stress. Doctor, she said without looking up, we have completed the initial cellular analysis. Excellent, Dr. Zelthar replied, settling his body into a comfortable position beside her. Let us review the data and begin treatment planning. I assume the diagnostic check on the scanning equipment revealed the calibration error. The equipment is functioning perfectly, Doctor. I ran 3 separate diagnostics. All systems are accurate within 0.01% tolerances. Dr. Zelthar's mandibles twitched. Then what is the problem? Kivra pulled up the cellular scan on the main display. The patient's fractured ribs, Doctor. Look at the bone tissue. The image showed Marcus Chen's skeletal structure in remarkable detail. The fractures were clearly visible, jagged breaks in the 5th, 6th, and 7th ribs on the left side. But around each break, a network of new cellular activity glowed in the false color display. Osteoblasts, the bone-building cells, were already depositing new calcium at an accelerated rate. This scan is from 2 hours ago, Kivra continued. This one is from 6 hours ago, immediately after arrival. She displayed both images side by side. The difference was obvious. The fracture gaps had noticeably narrowed. That is impossible, Dr. Zelthar said flatly. Bone healing takes weeks, even with medical intervention. The human has received no treatment yet. I know, Doctor, but the evidence is clear. His bones are healing themselves at a rate approximately 40 times faster than the human medical database indicates is standard. Dr. Zelthar examined the data more closely. Perhaps this particular human had received genetic modifications. But no. The mining company files listed Marcus Chen as completely unmodified. No cybernetics beyond the standard translator implant. Just a baseline human. What about the internal bleeding? He asked. Kivra switched to a different scan. That is even more strange, Doctor. The bleeding has stopped entirely. His body has formed clots at all the damaged sites, and the tissue is already beginning regeneration. We detected elevated levels of platelets and white blood cells in his bloodstream, far above the normal human baseline. Perhaps he has an infection. That would explain the elevated white blood cell count. I checked for that. No infection markers present. His immune system simply appears to be operating at maximum capacity as part of his normal healing response. Dr. Zelthar felt a strange sensation he had not experienced in many years as a doctor. Uncertainty. He had treated dozens of species, understood hundreds of biological systems. But this human was not behaving according to the medical literature. The database clearly stated that humans healed slowly, that they were fragile and weak. Yet the evidence before him suggested otherwise. Run a deeper scan, he ordered. I want cellular analysis at the mitochondrial level. And check his neural activity. Perhaps the trauma has triggered some kind of stress response we are not familiar with. While Kivra initiated the new scans, Dr. Zelthar decided to examine the patient directly. He entered the treatment bay, his legs clicking softly on the floor. Marcus Chen appeared to be sleeping, but his vital signs showed he was conscious. Mr. Chen, Dr. Zelthar said, I know you are awake. Your heart rate increases when I speak. There is no need to pretend. Marcus opened his eyes and looked directly at the massive insectoid doctor. Up close, Dr. Zelthar was even more impressive. Or perhaps intimidating was the better word. Those mandibles looked sharp. Sorry, Marcus said, his voice rough. Didn't mean to eavesdrop earlier. Your student seemed nice. You understood our conversation? Translator implant. Marcus tapped the side of his head. Standard issue for off-world workers. I heard everything you said about how weak and fragile humans are. Dr. Zelthar felt a moment of embarrassment, an emotion he rarely experienced. I apologize if my words were offensive. I was simply describing your species' biological characteristics as documented in the medical database. No offense taken, Marcus said. He tried to sit up, winced, then succeeded on the second attempt. Though for the record, the whole quantity over quality thing is pretty harsh. How are you sitting up? Dr. Zelthar asked, professional curiosity overriding social niceties. Your ribs are fractured. The pain should be incapacitating. Marcus shrugged, then regretted the movement. It hurts, yeah. But I have had broken ribs before. You learn to work through it. Besides, lying down for too long makes my back stiff. You have had broken ribs before? How many times? 3 times? No, 4. Once in high school playing football, twice at work, and once when I crashed my hover bike. Why? Dr. Zelthar made rapid notes on his datapad. This human had sustained major skeletal injuries 4 separate times and survived all of them. The medical database suggested that fractures were considered serious injuries for humans, yet this specimen spoke of them casually, as though they were minor inconveniences. "Tell me about the mining accident," Dr. Zelthar said.
"How long were you trapped?"
Marcus thought back to those 3 days in the darkness. About 70 hours, give or take. Hard to keep track without a clock. The collapse happened during my shift. Ceiling came down, blocked the exit, knocked me into some equipment. I knew the emergency signal went out, so I just had to wait for rescue. The report says there was a radiation leak. Yeah, from the power unit. I could smell it, that weird metallic smell radiation gives off. Tried to stay away from it, but the collapse area was not very big, maybe 3 meters by 4 meters. Had to stay in there the whole time. Dr. Zelthar's antennae went rigid. "You were trapped in a confined space with radiation exposure, fractured ribs and internal bleeding for 70 hours? That is about the size of it. What did you do?" Marcus looked confused by the question. "I waited for rescue. What else was I supposed to do? I found a less uncomfortable position, rationed the water from my suit reservoir, and tried not to panic. Panicking wastes oxygen and energy. Rescue teams always come eventually. Just have to be patient. Most species would have died within the first day from the radiation alone, even without the physical trauma. Well, humans are pretty tough when we need to be," Marcus said. He said it simply as a statement of fact, without pride or boasting. Nurse Kivra's voice came through Dr. Zelthar's communication implant. "Doctor, the deep scan results are ready. You need to see this immediately." Dr. Zelthar excused himself and returned to the observation console. Kivra had pulled up the mitochondrial analysis, and the numbers made no sense. Human cells, according to the database, operated at a standard efficiency level. The mitochondria produced ATP, the cellular energy currency, at a predictable and modest rate. Marcus Chen's cells were producing energy at nearly 3 times the expected rate. "This cannot be correct," Dr. Zelthar muttered. "Check the calibration again." "I already did, Doctor. 4 times. The readings are accurate." The display showed Marcus's cells in extraordinary detail. Each mitochondrion was working at what appeared to be maximum capacity, flooding the cellular structure with energy. It explained the accelerated healing, but it raised a dozen new questions. How was his body managing the excess heat? Why had the system activated? Was this normal for humans under stress? "Pull up the Earth database," Dr. Zelthar ordered. "I want to see the homeworld environmental data." Kivra complied, and a holographic representation of Earth appeared in the air between them. It was a blue and green planet, quite beautiful in its own way. The data scrolled past. Atmospheric composition, gravity, temperature ranges, geological activity. Dr. Zelthar read the gravity specification twice. 0.98 G. The database lists Earth's gravity as 0.98 G. "Yes, Doctor." "Is that significant?" "Station Zenith 7 operates at standard galactic gravity, which is 0.65 G. Mr. Chen has been living and working under nearly 1 full G his entire life. The muscular and skeletal stress alone would be..." Dr. Zelthar's voice trailed off as he did the calculations. "His muscles are constantly working against 50% higher resistance than most species experience. Would that not make him stronger?" "It would make any species stronger, assuming they survived the developmental process. Most civilized species evolved on low-gravity worlds. Anything above 0.7 G is considered extreme." Dr. Zelthar pulled up more Earth data. "Look at this. Temperature ranges from -80 to +70 Celsius in various regions. Atmospheric pressure varies wildly. Tectonic activity is classified as high. Weather patterns include electrical storms, rotating wind vortexes called hurricanes, and frozen water falling from the sky." "Frozen water?" "Apparently. They call it snow and ice. The planet regularly covers portions of its surface in frozen water, and the inhabitants simply continue living there." Kivra's eyes widened. "That sounds like a Class 10 or Class 11 environment at least." Dr. Zelthar checked the classification. His antennae went completely still. "Earth is classified as a Class 12 death world." The words hung in the air between them. Death world. The term was not used lightly in galactic society. It meant a planet so hostile, so dangerous, that intelligent life arising there was considered virtually impossible. The fact that Earth was rated Class 12. On a scale, Dr. Zelthar had not left his office in 14 hours. The walls were covered with holographic displays showing Earth's biosphere, human evolutionary history, and comparative biological data. The more he read, the more disturbed he became. Not disturbed by humans themselves, but by how thoroughly he had misunderstood them. The door chimed, and Nurse Kivra entered carrying a datapad and what looked like concern on her blue face. "Doctor, you asked for the complete genetic analysis of Mr. Chen. The results are extremely comprehensive and extremely strange." Dr. Zelthar gestured for her to continue. His translator picked up the exhaustion in his chittering voice. "Where do I even begin?" Kivra pulled up the first set of results. "His pain tolerance, doctor. We ran the standard neural sensitivity tests while he slept. Human pain receptors are extremely dense and highly sensitive. They should feel everything more intensely than most species." "But," Dr. Zelthar prompted, "but the human brain has developed remarkable pain suppression mechanisms. Mr. Chen's neural scans show he can consciously override pain signals to a degree we have never seen before. It is not that he does not feel pain. He feels it completely. He simply chooses to ignore it and function anyway." Dr. Zelthar thought back to how Marcus had been sitting up, stretching, and moving, despite fractured ribs. "That explains his behavior. What else?" "The adrenaline response system," Kivra continued, pulling up a simulation. "When humans encounter danger or stress, their bodies flood with a chemical called adrenaline. It temporarily increases strength, speed, and pain tolerance even further. The levels Mr. Chen can produce would cause cardiac arrest in most species. For humans, it is a normal survival mechanism." "Show me the strength comparison," Dr. Zelthar said. A holographic human figure appeared, with muscle groups highlighted in red. Numbers scrolled past showing force generation, leverage mechanics, and power output. "Human muscles are incredibly dense, doctor. They evolved under high gravity and had to be efficient. A human in an adrenaline state can generate enough force to damage their own skeletal structure. They can literally tear their muscles off their bones if pushed too far." "That is insane," Dr. Zelthar whispered. "Why would evolution create a system that can destroy itself?" "Because on Earth, it was better to damage yourself and escape danger than to die," Kivra said. "It is a survival mechanism from a hostile environment. The damage will heal, death will not." Dr. Zelthar processed this information. Every biological system he had mocked was actually a carefully evolved survival tool. The single heart was not a weakness, but an efficient pump designed for high pressure, high-performance circulation. The simple lung structure allowed humans to function in varying oxygen levels that would suffocate more specialized species. "There is more," Kivra said. She pulled up a file marked Endurance Capabilities. "Doctor, humans are persistence predators. Do you know what that means?" Dr. Zelthar shook his head, his antennae drooping with fatigue. "It means they evolved to hunt by simply not stopping. Most predators on Earth are faster and stronger than humans. So humans developed a different strategy. They would chase prey for hours, sometimes days, until the prey collapsed from exhaustion. Humans can regulate their body temperature through sweating, allowing them to run continuously without overheating. Most Earth animals cannot do this. They hunted by outlasting their prey." Dr. Zelthar found the concept almost offensive. "That is not hunting, that is harassment. Call it what you want, but it worked. Humans have the best endurance of any species in the galactic community. A healthy human can run for hours without stopping. They can go days without food and weeks without proper nutrition while still functioning. Their bodies are designed to keep moving no matter what." Dr. Zelthar thought about Marcus Chen trapped in the collapsed mine for 70 hours. No food, limited water, radiation exposure, and serious injuries. He had simply waited, because humans were built to endure. "What about the immune system?" Dr. Zelthar asked. "The database said it was overactive and prone to attacking helpful medical interventions." "The database was partially correct," Kivra admitted. "The human immune system is extremely aggressive. But doctor, it has to be. Earth is filled with hostile microorganisms. Bacteria, viruses, fungi, parasites, all constantly evolving to attack human hosts. The immune system had to become a warfare machine to keep up." She displayed a simulation of human white blood cells attacking an infection. The cells swarmed the invaders, releasing chemicals, physically consuming the threats, and calling for reinforcements. It looked less like medicine and more like a microscopic battlefield. Human children are constantly sick as their immune systems learn to fight, Kivra continued. By adulthood, they have been exposed to thousands of pathogens. Their bodies remember every single one and can fight them off if exposed again. It is adaptive, aggressive, and incredibly effective. Show me the cardiovascular stress test results, Dr. Zelthar said. The data appeared, and once again, Dr. Zelthar found himself staring in disbelief. A human heart could increase its output dramatically in response to stress. The beats per minute could more than double. The entire system was designed to handle extreme variations in demand. Most species have hearts that beat at a steady rhythm, Dr. Zelthar observed. Efficiency through consistency. But humans have hearts designed for a world where you might need to run from a predator at any moment, Kivra finished. Their entire cardiovascular system can switch from resting to maximum performance in seconds. It is not elegant, Doctor, but it is brutally effective. Dr. Zelthar stood and walked to the window overlooking the treatment bay. Marcus Chen was awake, reading something on a datapad. Occasionally he would shift position, and Dr. Zelthar could see the discomfort on his face. But the human never stopped, never complained, just kept reading, kept moving, kept existing despite what should have been crippling pain. I called him fragile, Doctor, Zelthar said quietly. I said humans were weak, primitive, poorly designed. You were wrong, Doctor. I was profoundly wrong. Dr. Zelthar turned back to Kivra. What is the classification level on restricted Earth data? I need to access the full planetary assessment. Level 7 restricted, but your medical credentials should grant access for patient care purposes. Dr. Zelthar submitted the request and waited. Within minutes, the approval came through, and a massive data file appeared on his console. The label read, Earth Biosphere Analysis, Comprehensive Threat Assessment. He opened the file and began to read. Earth's gravity, 0.98 g, classified as extreme high gravity for inhabited worlds. Earth's atmospheric pressure, 1.0 bar at sea level, with dangerous variations at altitude. Oxygen content, 21%, creating a highly reactive and corrosive atmosphere. Earth's temperature range, -89 to +70 Celsius. Humans inhabited every temperature zone, from frozen poles to desert equators. Earth's tectonic activity, highly unstable. Frequent earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and tsunamis. Humans built permanent settlements anyway. Earth's weather systems, violent and unpredictable. Hurricanes with winds exceeding 300 kilometers per hour. Tornadoes, lightning storms, floods, droughts, and blizzards. Humans lived through all of them. Earth's biological threats. The list went on for pages. Venomous snakes, spiders, and insects. Sharks, crocodiles, bears, and big cats. Microscopic parasites that ate brain tissue. Viruses that killed millions. Bacteria that developed antibiotic resistance. Fungi that could take over neural systems. And humans evolved alongside all of it. Dr. Zelthar read about Earth's ice ages, periods when the entire planet froze and most life died. Humans survived. He read about the predators that hunted early, humans, forcing them to develop tools, cooperation, and intelligence. He read about the diseases that swept through human populations, killing huge percentages but never quite finishing them off. Every single threat made humans adapt, made them stronger, made them more stubborn. Doctor, Kivra said softly, I found something else in Mr. Chen's file, his medical history. Dr. Zelthar pulled up the document. It was extensive. Broken bones, multiple occurrences, lacerations requiring stitches, 17 times, concussions, 3, infections, numerous. One entry caught his attention. Walking pneumonia. Dr. Zelthar read aloud. He had an active lung infection and continued working. Apparently it is common for humans, Kivra said. They call it walking pneumonia, because the patient is sick enough to need treatment but not sick enough to stop functioning. They simply take medication and continue their normal activities. Dr. Zelthar tried to imagine working with a lung infection. For his species, any respiratory illness meant immediate hospitalization. This is madness. This is humanity, Doctor. Dr. Zelthar looked at all the data surrounding him. The genetic scans, the planetary assessments, the medical histories. Every piece of information told the same story. Humans were not weak. They were not fragile. They were not poorly designed. They were survivors from a planet that had spent millions of years trying to kill them. Their single heart was efficient and powerful. Their simple lungs could function in varying oxygen levels. Dr. Zelthar stood before the Galactic Medical Database terminal at 3 a.m. Station time. His 6 legs ached from standing so long, but he could not bring himself to rest. Not yet, not until he understood the full truth about humans and their impossible planet. He accessed the restricted files, the ones that required special clearance. The files that most doctors never needed to see because they dealt with environments where intelligent life should not exist, could not exist, yet somehow did. The screen displayed Earth's classification history. When the first survey team visited the planet 200 years ago, before humanity achieved faster-than-light travel, they had been shocked to find a thriving civilization. The initial report had been flagged as potentially fraudulent because the data seemed impossible. Dr. Zelthar read the first surveyor's notes with growing fascination. We have discovered a species calling themselves humans on a planet they call Earth. Initial classification suggested Class 8 habitability, but further investigation reveals the truth is far worse. This is a Class 12 death world, possibly the most hostile inhabited planet in known space. Recommend immediate quarantine and observation. The fact that complex life exists here, much less intelligent life, contradicts everything we understand about evolutionary biology. The report continued with page after page of threats. Dr. Zelthar had read some of it before, but now he dug deeper, looking for the details he had missed. Earth's predators. The planet had evolved multiple apex predators that hunted in packs. Wolves with coordinated hunting strategies, lions with social structures, orcas with culture and language. And humans competed with all of them. More than competed. Humans had hunted many of these predators to near extinction, Earth's disasters. The geological record showed mass extinctions every few million years. Asteroid impacts, volcanic eruptions, ice ages, climate shifts. Life on Earth had been nearly destroyed multiple times. Yet it always came back, adapting to each new threat. Earth's diseases. The medical database listed thousands of human pathogens. The Black Death had killed a third of Earth's population in the medieval period. Smallpox, tuberculosis, malaria, influenza, each claiming millions of victims. Yet humans survived. They developed vaccines, antibiotics, and public health systems. They fought their microscopic enemies with the same stubbornness they showed toward everything else. Dr. Zelthar pulled up a comparative analysis. The average Class 3 world, where most intelligent species evolved, had perhaps a dozen truly dangerous predators, mild weather, and stable tectonics. Earth had hundreds of deadly predators, catastrophic weather systems, and constant geological upheaval. A message appeared on his console. It was from Dr. Zintara, a Zephyrian colleague who specialized in evolutionary biology. Zelthar had sent her the human genetic data hours ago with a request for analysis. Zelthar, what species did you send me? These genetic markers are insane. The redundancy systems, the adaptive capabilities, the stress response mechanisms. This genome has been through evolutionary hell. Whatever environment produced this species must have been trying to kill it for millions of years. Please confirm this data is correct before I submit it to the evolutionary database. Dr. Zelthar sent a reply. Data is confirmed accurate. Species is human. Evolved on Earth, Class 12 death world. Your assessment is correct. The planet tried to kill them for millions of years. They survived anyway. He turned back to the Earth files and found a section on human evolution. The timeline was brutal. Early human ancestors had faced predators, climate change, disease, and competition from other intelligent hominid species. Most of those other species went extinct. Humans survived. The report noted something particularly chilling. Human evolution appears to have been driven primarily by crisis adaptation. Every major advancement in human development corresponds to an environmental threat. Tool use developed to compensate for lack of natural weapons. Fire mastery developed to survive ice ages. Agriculture developed in response to food scarcity. Each challenge made them stronger, smarter, and more adaptable. Dr. Zelthar's mandibles clicked together nervously. Humans had not evolved in spite of Earth's hostility. They had evolved because of it. The planet had forged them like metal in a furnace, each generation either adapting or dying. A new notification appeared. Nurse Kivra had sent an emergency alert. Dr. Zelthar's heart accelerated as he read it. Patient Chen showing signs of distress. Please report to treatment bay immediately. Dr. Zelthar rushed through the corridors, his legs carrying him faster than he had moved in years. When he reached the treatment bay, he found Kivra working frantically at the medical console, while Marcus Chen thrashed on the bed, his skin covered in a sheen of sweat. What happened? Dr. Zelthar demanded. I initiated standard therapeutic treatment, Kivra said, her voice high with stress. The protocols for accelerated healing, recommended for all patients. But his body is rejecting the treatment. His temperature is rising, his heart rate is dangerously elevated, and his immune system is attacking the therapeutic nanobots. Dr. Zelthar looked at the monitors. Marcus's body temperature had risen to 39.5 Celsius, far above the normal human baseline of 37. His heart was beating at 140 times per minute. But what truly alarmed Dr. Zelthar was the immune response data. Marcus's white blood cells were destroying the nanobots, treating them as hostile invaders. The therapeutic machines designed to help were being systematically hunted down and eliminated by an immune system that had evolved to trust nothing foreign. Stop the treatment, Dr. Zelthar ordered. Flush the nanobots from his system immediately. But doctor, he needs medical intervention. His injuries are healing on their own, Dr. Zelthar said, understanding dawning on him. We are not helping him. We are making things worse. His body does not need our sophisticated medical technology. It needs to be left alone to do what it has been doing for millions of years. Kivra initiated the flush protocol, and within minutes, the nanobots were filtered from Marcus's bloodstream. His vital signs began to stabilize. Temperature dropped. Heart rate decreased. The thrashing stopped. Marcus opened his eyes, looking exhausted. What the hell was that? Felt like my blood was on fire. I apologize, Mr. Chen, Dr. Zelthar said. I made another error in judgment. I tried to treat you with standard galactic medical technology, not understanding that your body would see it as an attack. You put something in me? Therapeutic nanobots. They are standard treatment for accelerating healing, but your immune system destroyed them. Marcus managed a weak smile. Yeah, that sounds about right. My body does not like foreign stuff. I had to get special immunosuppressants just to accept my translator implant. Even then, it took 3 tries. Dr. Zelthar felt the weight of his ignorance settling on his shoulders. He had nearly killed his patient through sheer arrogance, assuming that advanced technology was always better than natural processes. Mr. Chen, I need to ask you some questions about Earth, about growing up there. Marcus shifted to a more comfortable position. Sure, Doc, what do you want to know? What was your childhood like? Were you injured often? I guess. I mean, all kids get hurt. I broke my arm falling out of a tree when I was 8. Got 20 stitches when I crashed my bicycle at 10. Had the flu probably 6 or 7 times. Normal kid stuff. Dr. Zelthar's antennae twitched. None of that was normal for most species. You consider broken bones and serious lacerations normal? Well, yeah. Kids play rough. You fall down, scrape your knees, get back up. My mom always said if I was not bleeding, I was not trying hard enough. Marcus laughed at the memory. She was joking mostly. What about illnesses? You said you had the flu multiple times? Flu, cold, stomach bugs. You know, the usual stuff. School was basically a petri dish. Everyone got sick all the time. You just deal with it. Dr. Zelthar tried to imagine a Varinian school where children constantly infected each other with diseases. It would be considered a public health catastrophe. Yet for humans, it was normal. Expected even. Tell me about Earth's weather, Dr. Zelthar said. Your file says you grew up in a place called Canada. Oh man, Canadian winters are brutal, Marcus said. Temperatures get down to -40 sometimes. Everything freezes. But you just put on a coat and go about your day. Summer is nice though. Gets up to 35, 40 degrees. Perfect for swimming. Dr. Zelthar did the conversion, minus 40 Celsius to plus 40 Celsius, an 80-degree temperature swing that humans just casually lived through. Most species required environmental suits to handle a 20-degree variation. What about predators? Did you ever encounter dangerous animals? I saw a bear once while camping. Stayed in the tent and made noise until it went away, and there were coyotes sometimes, but nothing too scary. Not like Australia. Those guys have everything trying to kill them. Spiders, snakes, jellyfish, octopuses. Even the plants are venomous there. And yet humans live in Australia? Of course. It is a whole continent. Pretty nice beaches, actually. Dr. Zelthar was beginning to understand the true scope of human adaptability. They did not just survive Earth, they thrived on it. They spread to every corner of the planet, from frozen poles to scorching deserts, from mountain peaks to ocean depths. They encountered every threat the planet could throw at them and simply adapted. Mr. Chen, Dr. Zelthar said carefully, do you understand what a Dr. Zelthar spent the next 3 days completely redesigning his approach to Marcus Chen's treatment? Or rather, his approach to allowing Marcus to heal himself. The change in perspective was difficult for a doctor who had spent 400 years using advanced technology to cure patients. But the evidence was undeniable. Every time he tried to intervene with standard medical procedures, Marcus's body fought back. So instead, Dr. Zelthar focused on creating the optimal environment for natural human healing. He adjusted the atmospheric mixture to match Earth's composition. He increased the room temperature. He provided high-calorie foods that matched human nutritional requirements. And then he watched, fascinated as Marcus's body repaired itself with remarkable efficiency. The fractured ribs knitted together within a week. The internal bleeding had stopped within the first day. The radiation exposure, which should have required months of treatment, seemed to resolve itself as Marcus's cellular repair mechanisms worked over time. It was not elegant medicine. It was brute force healing, throwing massive biological resources at every problem until it was solved. On the 4th day, Dr. Zelthar entered the treatment bay to find Marcus doing push-ups on the floor. Mr. Chen, what are you doing? Dr. Zelthar asked, alarmed. Marcus finished his set and stood up, barely winded. Morning exercise routine. I have been lying around for days. Need to keep my muscles from atrophy. You had fractured ribs 4 days ago. Yeah, but they feel pretty good now. Still a little sore, but nothing I cannot work through. Trust me, Doc, I know my body. I am ready to move. Dr. Zelthar ran a scan. The ribs were not fully healed, but they had recovered enough that light exercise would not cause further damage. In fact, the movement might actually stimulate additional healing. Against every instinct, he found himself agreeing. Very well, but please inform me if you experience any significant pain. Will do, Doc. Dr. Zelthar returned to his office where Nurse Kivra was waiting with a data pad. Her expression was troubled. Doctor, I have been reviewing the galactic medical literature on Death World species. There are only 3 other known intelligent species from Class 10 or higher worlds. All 3 are classified as extremophile species and have special protocols for medical treatment. What kind of protocols? Dr. Zelthar asked. Minimal intervention, environmental adjustment, natural healing prioritization, exactly what you have been doing with Mr. Chen. Kivra pulled up the relevant documents. Doctor, humans should be classified as an extremophile species, but they are not. The database lists them as Class 5 standard biology. Dr. Zelthar felt anger rising in his chest, a rare emotion for him. Then the database is wrong, dangerously wrong. I submitted a formal correction request to the Galactic Medical Council, Kivra said. But these things take time, months, possibly years for review and approval. How many humans are being treated incorrectly because of this misinformation? Dr. Zelthar wondered aloud. How many have died because doctors like me assumed they were fragile? I checked. There have been 47 human patients in galactic medical facilities in the past year. Mortality rate is 12%, far higher than any other species. 12%. Dr. Zelthar's 3 hearts ached at the thought. 12% of human patients dying, not from their injuries or illnesses, but from improper treatment based on false assumptions. I need to publish a paper, Dr. Zelthar said. Immediately. We cannot wait for the council to update the database. Other doctors need to know the truth about human biology. He began writing that very hour. The paper would be titled Death World Adaptation, a reconsideration of human biology and medical treatment protocols. He poured everything he had learned into it. The genetic data, the evolutionary history, the treatment failures and successes. He included Marcus Chen as a case study with permission. 3 days later, Marcus was cleared for discharge. Dr. Zelthar met him at the exit of the treatment bay. "Mr. Chen, I owe you an apology. When you arrived, I mocked your species. I called you weak, primitive, and poorly designed. I was wrong on every count." Marcus smiled and extended his hand. A human gesture Dr. Zelthar had learned meant respect and farewell. Dr. Zelthar grasped the hand carefully with his foreleg, still amazed at the strength in those simple fingers. "It is okay, Doc, I am not offended. You did not know. But now you do, and you are helping other humans. That is what matters. What will you do now?" Dr. Zelthar asked. "Go back to work. I still have 3 years left on my mining contract. Besides, the crew needs me. We are behind schedule because of the accident." "You are going back to mining? After nearly dying?" Marcus shrugged. "It is a good job, pays well, and honestly, the accident was not that bad. I have had worse injuries playing sports back home." Dr. Zelthar watched Marcus leave, walking with only a slight limp, heading back to one of the most dangerous jobs on the station. The human did not see it as bravery or foolishness. He saw it as normal. Because for humans, surviving and thriving in dangerous environments was normal. 2 weeks later, Dr. Zelthar's paper was published in the Galactic Medical Journal. It created an immediate sensation. Doctors across the galaxy began reassessing their understanding of human biology. Medical facilities updated their protocols. The survival rate for human patients began to improve, but Dr. Zelthar's work was not done. He had become the station's unofficial expert on human medicine, and he took the responsibility seriously. He studied every scrap of information about Earth he could find. He consulted with human doctors via long-distance communication. He learned about human culture, psychology, and the unique challenges they faced in galactic society. 3 months after Marcus's discharge, a new human patient arrived at the station. A young woman named Sarah Kim, injured in a shuttle accident. Dr. Zelthar's medical students gathered around the observation window, just as they had done with Marcus. But this time, Dr. Zelthar's lecture was very different. "Students, today you will learn to treat a human patient. Humans are an extremophile species from a Class 12 death world. Their biology is unlike anything most of you have encountered. They do not need our most advanced technology. They need respect, proper environmental conditions, and time for their bodies to heal themselves." He pulled up a holographic display of human anatomy. "Observe the cardiovascular system. A single heart, yes, but one of the most efficient pumps in the known galaxy. It can double its output in response to stress. It can continue functioning even with significant damage. Humans have survived and recovered from heart attacks that would kill most species instantly." The students took notes eagerly. This was nothing like the dismissive lecture from 3 months ago. "Note the muscular system. Extremely dense and powerful. Evolved under high-gravity conditions. A human in an adrenaline state can generate enough force to damage their own skeleton. This is not a design flaw. This is a survival feature. Better to damage yourself escaping a predator than to die." Dr. Zelthar continued through each system, explaining the evolutionary pressures that shaped them, the remarkable capabilities they possessed, and, most importantly, how to treat them properly. The key to human medicine is understanding that their bodies are self-repairing machines, honed by millions of years of survival on a hostile planet. Our role is not to fix them. Our role is to support them while they fix themselves. He approached Sarah Kim's treatment bay with his students following. The young woman was conscious, looking nervous but alert. Dr. Zelthar's translator picked up her elevated heart rate and rapid breathing. "Fear response. Natural and expected. Ms. Kim, I am Dr. Zelthar. I will be overseeing your treatment. First, let me assure you that I understand human biology. You are from a death world and your body knows how to heal itself. My job is simply to give it the best conditions to do so." Sarah's tension visibly decreased. "You know about Earth being a death world? I do, and I have learned to respect what that means. You are not fragile, Ms. Kim. You are resilient. Your body will heal, and I will make sure nothing interferes with that process." Over the next week, Sarah's treatment went smoothly. Dr. Zelthar adjusted the environment, provided proper nutrition, and otherwise let her body handle the healing. His students watched and learned. They saw firsthand how different human medicine was from treating other species. On the day of Sarah's discharge, she thanked Dr. Zelthar personally. "I heard about you from other humans on the station. They say you are the doctor who finally gets us. Thank you." "I did not understand at first," Dr. Zelthar admitted, "but I had a good teacher. A human named Marcus Chen who survived despite my ignorance and taught me to see clearly. Word spread through the human community on the station. Dr. Zelthar became known as the doctor who understood. When humans were injured, they asked for him specifically. He trained other doctors, sharing his knowledge freely. Medical facilities across the galaxy began implementing his protocols. 6 months after treating Marcus, Dr. Zelthar received a message. It was from Marcus himself, sent from the mining colony. "Hey Doc, hope you are doing well. Wanted you to know I finished my contract and decided to sign up for another 5 years. The pay is great and I like the work.